to the HS Physio Studio at Nordic Business Forum 2025 for the very last time. Things have just wrapped up on the main stage, but it's not quite over yet. We have two of the people behind the organization that makes this event possible joining me in just a couple of moments to talk through what we've all learned and what we can look forward to next year. So please give a very warm welcome for board members from the Business Forum Group, Mika, Sutinen and Tuula, Rytila.
Thank you,
Maggie. Welcome. Welcome into the studio while our guests in Helsinki are hopefully grabbing a glass of bubbles or maybe going to get their coats, but they've been advised not to stick around, network and mingle just that little bit more. That was the message from Pep on the main stage, wrapping things up. So much has happened in the past couple of days, but can we just get some reflections from you two? If you didn't have a favorite person, perhaps you can share a favorite moment. Let's start with you, Tuula.
Well, you know, I'm going to start with something maybe surprising, which is this whole event. And I think for me, maybe the favorite thing is like immediately when you come here, Angela talked about yesterday that we need to think with our, not only heads, but also with our hearts. I think this whole event has been done with big heart. And I think, you know, if you were watching online and could not join this year, I invite you to come next year because it's magical how everything just works, and you know we're just so well taken care of.
Yeah, and I'm not biased. This is genuinely the most organized event I've ever worked at, and the attention to detail is so specific and so incredible. Mika, some reflections from you from what you've seen on stage and done here in Helsinki over the last few days.
Well, I think Tuula kind of stole my words. Is that my event started from the railway stations and having these fantastic young people to receive and smile, and you can see that they're a bit shaky and nervous, but what an experience this is for them as well.
Yeah, and you're talking about the students that as part of their studies are invited to help. So for people that haven't been to the venue, they're chaperoning people in, they're helping people find where they need to be, and play a crucial role in crucial cogs in the machine really of Business Forum.
Absolutely.
But just talking about the sessions, I mean, is there some comment or some moment that you'll just keep thinking about, do you think?
I think for me, today was really special in many ways, and because we're kind of like in this moving forward, we kept moving towards the solutions. And I took a picture of Diana when, you know, she had this about growth, and there's so much uncertainty. And somehow my takeaway thought is like, it's going to be there and we have to live with it. So it's kind of like, I think it said something that like uncertainty or change is inevitable, but it's our own choice, you know, if we want to grow. So growth is optional, it's our choice. And that's something like I'm taking away with me is that actually change is an opportunity, and instead of being afraid or frozen or nervous, how do I embrace it? How do I use some of these tools and really kind of enjoy it almost?
Yeah, embrace and enjoy. Love that. Mika?
Well, I would there's so many things, and I have to make a confession that when I come over here and listen to speakers, if you would ask me to draw the red line of every speaker, what they said, I couldn't tell because there's so many thoughts, kind of reflections or tangents coming out of thoughts here and there. Nothing revolutionary, to be honest, but a lot of things strengthening kind of certain values which are super important. If I pick my highlight, my highlight would be Rick Rubin saying in the beginning today that there's not actually failures on things that when you try to do something, if it's not successful, it's not a failure, then you just know that doesn't work or something else works. And that's the principle which is usually with the fastest growing companies, is that they fail a lot more than anybody else. That's one of their secrets.
But they've also done what he advised, which is acting from the heart. and from something that you're really passionate about doing.
Absolutely.
Tuula, any tips for people, because it is a big event, and for those watching online as well, there's been a lot of information to digest. How will you try and take some of your key learnings into work next week? Not just forget about it and say it was a great event, actually take some action.
Right. I think the secret probably is not to try to do too much. I mean, there is like people like to do 3 things because your brain can handle only so much. And we know that there are these change resistance mechanisms that are working, in ourselves against us. So pick 1 or 2 things. One of the things that I'm going to try to do, and maybe Mika, you can keep me honest and remind me, was from April Rinne today, where she said like, well, who has a to-do list? We all have a to-do list, but who has not to-do list?
Yeah.
So I'm going to start working on my not to-do list. And even yesterday I was in a board meeting where, like on my way here, where we thought about the things that we should stop to focus on the things that really matter. So pick something, and mine is going to be the not to-do list.
That's a brilliant reflection. Okay, looking forward then to next year. Wow, an absolutely incredible lineup, including Stephen Bartlett, host of Diary of a CEO, enormous entrepreneur, and media mogul Oprah Winfrey. Are you allowed to be involved in those decisions as board members? Did you know about it before today? Give us a bit of behind the scenes.
Well, it is of course a continuous discussion in the board. Hape and Yuri are using us as a sounding board on testing different thoughts. And I have to confess that I had tears in my eyes when Oprah was announced, because I know that Hape has been trying, and the team has been trying to get her over here for 7-8 years. And what we're going to get is not the TV host Oprah. We're going to get the businesswoman, kind of the opinion leader, which is going to be fantastic. Not to undermine anybody else on the roster list of tomorrow, but next year. But it is going to be fantastic.
You said tomorrow. Are you also in Pep Rosenfeld's time machine? On the main stage, he said he was getting in a time machine to get him there already.
It'll feel like that when we're back here. We'll feel like, where did the year go?
Yeah, but hopefully thinking, what did I do? If you've taken some of the tips into action, and the theme. Talk us through the theme and the thinking behind that.
Right, the human edge. We did have some debate on the board about it, and of course, like, we can have our opinions, and they are the experts, so we just say that these are our opinions. But I think that was pretty unanimous when we talked about the human edge, and AI has been our topic here as well. And I love what Rick Rubin said as well, like, well, think about it as a tool. So I think there'll be a very rich discussion for sure, and I think it's one of these changes I think about, that if AI is going to be such a great tool to help us, why don't use this opportunity to try to focus on what is best in being human, like our human connection, that we feel things, that we are not perfect. So maybe it's an opportunity for humanity as well, and we'll talk about that next year.
Can't wait. Mika?
I think kind of Rick Rubin unintentionally ended up building a bridge from this year, or actually from a year ago to this year and to the next year, taking into in his keynote or in his speech, saying that AI doesn't have a taste, it doesn't have an opinion. And I think kind of it's nicely kind of balancing the sequence of things of talking about the human edge.
Indeed, because it has been woven into our lives, but it has been quite refreshing over the last few days to not be talking about AI in every interview and every panel discussion, to be looking at some of the other areas that are equally crucial to us, and those human elements too.
Yeah, and I think that there's a certain foresight, if you allow me to mention, that we're going to talk about the human edge next year, when we're going to be 1 year kind of wiser what AI is going to be all about. It's going to be a lot more concrete. There's a lot. It is still quite vague today, but we're going to know a lot more 12 months from today.
I think it will be fascinating. We heard on the main stage, I think Pep asked the question of how many people have been to Nordic Business Forum before, and we know there is a very high return rate. A lot of people who are here for the first time today will come back next year. A lot of people are already repeat customers, which I know Nordic Business Forum really appreciates. What do you think is the secret sauce, apart from the speakers, that brings people here? Mika?
I would... This is not my own opinion, because that's more or less what I've been asking from everybody I meet over here. And I think it's a soup coming out of the program agenda itself, your own thinking, kind of your own reflections, other people, social contacts, networking, all of it, and a lot of inspiration. I think people get energized after these 2 days, and that's why they keep coming back.
Are there any tweaks or changes from this year's agenda or approach that have particularly impressed you or caught your eye?
Well, I think what people over here do is exactly what everybody should do in their business, is that they're piloting, they're learning from the mistakes, they're small mistakes, if any, and then adjusting. It's a continuous evolution. Despite the fact that the feedback has always been good, they dare to try new things, and which I appreciate a lot.
Yeah.
We do get feedback a lot on food, because that's, a topic important to people. And I have to say, everything I sampled this year I really liked. So I give high points to the food.
Me too. Some tasty Nordic ingredients. Tuula, you joined the Business Forum Group board just a year ago. Generally speaking, what do you think events like this are so good at doing when it comes to shaping leadership in this region?
When I walked here yesterday, one of the things I realized is that our audience is quite young. I got to feel a little senior, and that made me feel very good, because I love that there is so much of that energy of youth, optimism, can-do attitude here. And I really hope that, if you are, let's say, a senior manager whose team was here, ask them what they learned, and be curious about what were some of the things experienced here, because I think what we're trying to create here is a momentum and a force of change. And I think so many great messages were spread here today, and these 2 days. I spoke to the person next to me today, and they said that their big key learning was that the soft things are the hard things. Those are some real leadership tools. So help each other to deploy them would be my message.
Mika, you're nodding away. Anything else to add to that?
Well, I have nothing to add to that one, so that's a good one.
Yeah. Tuula, you briefly said earlier, if you're watching on the live stream, maybe you'd like to think about coming and being here physically next year. So if someone is inspired, of course, there's the speakers, there's the organization, there's all the networking going on. But what's your best elevator pitch for actually coming to Helsinki, the city?
I think this is the best business event you can join at the moment anywhere. So it's going to be a great investment in yourself. So please join.
Okay, and it is a lovely city. I live in Stockholm, and I always find it a pleasure to visit Helsinki and network with all the Finns and international people in the crowd at Nordic Business Forum. We're going to wrap things up there. Thank you so much for your time and being our final guests here in the studio. And thank you so much to the audience who've joined us physically for this, and to all of you watching online. Thank you so much.
Thank you
very much.
So that's it from me, Maddie Savage. Thank you so much to the technical team who've helped put all of this together in the HS Visio studio, and all of the organisers. It's been wonderful hosting. Do look me up on LinkedIn if you'd like to find out more about my work as a host. And we hope to see you at Nordic Business Forum 2026. Bye-bye.